Ladies, let's start with a truth that may sting, but one you absolutely need to hear. Some men will walk into your life with a charming smile, shower you with compliments, and make you feel like the most special person in the world. But beneath the surface, their actions slowly chip away at your energy, your time, and your self-worth. It's a painful realization, but an essential one. Here's the good news. You're not powerless. Today, I'm giving you the knowledge to see these behaviors for exactly what they are, so you can take back control of your time, your energy, and your heart. Now, let's be clear. Not every man who lets you down does so with bad intentions. Sometimes it's selfishness. Sometimes it's immaturity. But the impact? It's the same. So if you've ever caught yourself wondering, is he really into me? Or am I just a convenient option? You're in the right place. Let's break down the key signs of a man who is using you, starting with the most common one. Behavior 1. He only invests when it benefits him. Have you noticed that his effort seems to ebb and flow depending on what he needs from you? Maybe he's extra charming when he needs emotional support, intimacy, or a favor, but when you need him, he's nowhere to be found. This isn't just inconsiderate. It's a clear behavioral pattern rooted in what psychologists call transactional relationships. A transactional relationship happens when one person engages only when there's a benefit to be gained. For men who exhibit this behavior, their investment in you isn't about love or connection. It's about the payoff. Think about this. Does he disappear after he gets what he wants? Does he only check in when he needs validation or assistance? These are signs that his focus is more on extracting value than building a connection. What you can do: start tracking the dynamics of your interactions. Are his moments of affection always tied to a personal gain? Flip the script. Next time he comes to you, change the focus to your needs. If he resists or pulls away, that's your confirmation. Research shows that healthy relationships are built on reciprocity, a mutual exchange of care and effort. If his investment is purely conditional, it's time to reassess what you're giving and why. Behavior 2. He keeps you guessing about your status one day. He's holding your hand and talking about the future. The next, he's dodging questions about commitment or where this is going. Sound familiar? This is a hallmark of emotional ambiguity, and it's not just frustrating, it's manipulative. According to studies on attachment theory, people who avoid commitment often create a cycle of closeness and distance to maintain control. It keeps you hooked, always wondering where you stand and hoping for clarity that never comes. The science behind it. This behavior triggers what's known as intermittent reinforcement, a psychological concept where unpredictable rewards, in this case, moments of affection, make you cling harder to the relationship, even when it's not fulfilling. What you can do: stop accepting ambiguity. A man who values you will communicate his intentions clearly, ask direct questions, and pay attention to his actions more than his words. Maybe is not an answer, it's a delay tactic. Remember, consistency is the cornerstone of genuine love. If he's keeping you in the dark, he's likely benefiting from your confusion. Behavior 3. He doesn't prioritize you in his life. Let me paint you a picture. You're always accommodating his schedule, bending over backward to fit into his world. But when it's time for him to show up for you, whether it's meeting your friends, celebrating your achievements, or simply spending quality time, he always has an excuse. Here's what you need to know. In a healthy relationship, prioritization isn't just about spending time together. It's about effort. It's about showing that your happiness, your needs, and your presence matter in his life. Research from the Gottman Institute, a leader in relationship studies, shows that successful relationships hinge on what they call turning towards. This means that in small, everyday moments, partners actively make an effort to show they value each other, whether by being present, attentive, or proactive. A man who is using you, on the other hand, will consistently turn away. He might claim he's too busy, but let me be clear, nobody is that busy. How to spot it? Does he consistently prioritize his work, friends, or even his hobbies over you? Are his excuses vague or repetitive, like, "I'm just slammed right now," or "things will calm down soon"? Does he follow through on promises, or do they always feel like placeholders? What you can do: you deserve to be with someone who makes you feel like a part of their world, not an afterthought. Start by clearly communicating your needs. If he's genuinely invested, he'll take steps to balance his priorities. If not, consider whether you're holding space for someone who isn't holding space for you. Behavior 4. He avoids emotional or financial responsibility. Here's a behavior that often flies under the radar because it can show up in subtle ways. A man who is using you will avoid taking responsibility emotionally or financially when it matters most. The emotional disconnect. Let's start with the emotional aspect. He expects you to be his cheerleader, his confidant, and his support system. But when you express your feelings, concerns, or vulnerabilities, he shuts down. Maybe he changes the subject, minimizes your emotions, or worse, accuses you of being too much. This isn't just inconsiderate, it's emotionally draining. Studies in emotional labor have shown that relationships thrive when both partners actively listen and empathize with each other. If he's leaving you to do all the emotional heavy lifting, that's a red flag. The financial dynamic. Now let's talk about money. While every relationship has its own financial dynamics, a man who is using you will repeatedly shift the burden onto you. Maybe he forgets his wallet, lets you cover bills, or casually borrows money with no intention of paying it back. What this says about him? These behaviors suggest a lack of respect and long-term investment. They reflect someone who sees you as a convenience, not a partner. What you can do? Emotionally, pay attention to whether he's willing to engage in tough conversations or dismisses your concerns. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual emotional support, not one-sided dependency. Financially, set boundaries. If you notice patterns of financial irresponsibility, address them directly. A man who values you will respect those boundaries and step up. Remember, it's not about whether he makes more or less money. It's about whether he's contributing fairly and showing respect for your shared efforts. Behavior 5. He ignores your emotional needs. When you're in a relationship with someone, your emotional well-being should never feel like a one-way street. A man who is using you will often overlook or outright ignore your emotional needs. What this looks like, maybe he's great at talking about his problems, but goes silent when you bring up yours. Perhaps he avoids discussing anything too deep because it makes him uncomfortable. Whatever the case, his emotional unavailability leaves you feeling unseen and unheard. Why this happens? Research in interpersonal relationships highlights that emotional reciprocity is a cornerstone of connection. When one partner consistently neglects the other's emotional needs, it creates an imbalance that erodes trust and intimacy. How to recognize it? Does he dismiss or invalidate your feelings with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "Why are you so sensitive?" Is he present during your happy moments but absent during your struggles? Does he lack curiosity about your thoughts, dreams, and experiences? What you can do? Start by asserting your emotional needs. Use I statements such as, "I feel unheard when I share my concerns," to express your feelings without sounding accusatory. If he's unwilling or unable to meet you halfway, that's a clear sign he's not emotionally invested. The final key behavior. He creates more confusion than clarity. Let me ask you this. When you think about your relationship, do you feel peace, or do you feel like you're walking through a fog? A man who is using you thrives on confusion because it keeps you stuck, second-guessing yourself, and emotionally tied to him. What confusion looks like? He's hot and cold. One moment, he's affectionate and attentive. The next, he's distant and hard to reach. His words and actions don't align. He says he cares about you, but he doesn't show up when it matters. He avoids direct conversations about the future, leaving you guessing about where you stand. Why he does it? Confusion is a powerful tool for control. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive dissonance, a state where conflicting information causes mental stress. This stress makes you cling to the small positive moments as validation that the relationship is worth it, even when the larger picture tells a different story. What you can do? Clarity is non-negotiable in a healthy relationship. Here's how to reclaim your power. Demand directness. Ask for clear answers about his intentions and future plans. If he evades or gives you vague responses, take it as the answer you need. Trust patterns, not promises. Look at the consistency of his behavior, not just his words. Promises mean nothing if they're not backed up by action. Set a deadline. If the relationship feels stagnant, give yourself a personal timeline to see progress. If nothing changes, it's time to move on. Confusion keeps you tethered to uncertainty. Clarity sets you free. How to break free from a toxic dynamic. Now that we've covered the behaviors, let's talk about what you can do if you recognize these patterns in your relationship. The truth is, breaking free isn't easy, especially when emotions and history are involved. But it's possible and necessary for your peace of mind and self-respect. Step 1. Acknowledge the reality. Denial is the first hurdle. It's easier to believe his excuses or hold on to hope that he'll change. But ignoring the truth only prolongs your pain. Write down the behaviors you've noticed and how they've made you feel. Seeing it in black and white can be a powerful wake-up call. Step 2. Shift the focus to yourself. When you're caught up in someone else's behavior, it's easy to lose sight of your own needs. Take time to reconnect with yourself. Revisit your values. What do you truly want in a partner and relationship? Invest in self-care. Surround yourself with friends, hobbies, and activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. The energy you're spending trying to fix him could be redirected into building the life you deserve. Step 3. Set firm boundaries. Boundaries aren't about punishing him. They're about protecting you. Communicate what you will and won't tolerate. For example, I need consistency in our communication. I won't continue a relationship where my needs are dismissed. If he respects your boundaries, great. If he doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know. Step 4. Seek support. You don't have to go through this alone. Talk to trusted friends, family, or even a therapist to process your emotions and gain perspective. Sometimes an outside view can help you see what you've been too close to recognize. Step 5. Let go with grace. Letting go isn't about winning or losing. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and self-worth. If you decide to walk away, remind yourself that you're making space for something better. The truth about healthy relationships. Let's take a moment to imagine what a healthy relationship looks like. It's not about perfection, but about effort, respect, reciprocity. A man who truly values you will show up consistently. Even when life gets hard, prioritize open and honest communication, support your growth, and celebrate your wins. Listen to your concerns and work with you to resolve them. In a healthy relationship, you'll feel grounded, not anxious. You'll feel loved, not confused. You'll feel respected, not used. Empowerment starts with you, ladies. Here's the takeaway. You deserve a relationship where you are cherished, respected, and valued. If a man is showing behaviors that undermine your worth, it's not your job to fix him. It's your job to protect your peace. Trust your intuition. Pay attention to patterns. And most importantly, don't settle for breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole feast. Join the conversation now. I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these behaviors in your relationships? What's one step you can take today to prioritize your well-being? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm here to support you. And if this resonated with you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Because when we empower ourselves, we empower each other. Thank you for watching. And remember, you're worthy of love that feels like home. Until next time, take care of yourself. You've got this.